And joining us now, this violence in Pakistan, of course, is raising concern in the United States, and a House Homeland Security subcommittee met this morning to discuss violent extremism and homegrown threats to our own national security. Joining us now, the Representative Jane Harman, Democrat of California, who is also chairing the Homeland Security Subcommittee on Intelligence. Welcome. Thanks so much for being with us. Let's talk about some of these extremists and the use of social networking. Talk about what you've learned through your examination about the way the new technologies, not just email now, but all kinds of other social networking, is helping to recruit some of these young people from our own country. We've just most recently had the 5, of course, who were arrested in Islamabad.
Right. Well, let me be clear, Andrea. We're not talking about holding extreme views. Holding extreme views is protected by the First Amendment to our Constitution, and being with people who hold extreme views is also protected. It's violent behavior that is the problem, and we're trying to understand how someone who holds extreme views, or who even doesn't hold extreme views, transitions into a terrorist, and where to intervene, again, consistent with our laws and our values. So we held another hearing today with the head of the Arab American Institute, the ACLU, and a couple of scholars to try to understand better what's happening. What's happening, apparently, is there is a number of alienated people out there. They're not all Arab Americans, and they're not all Muslim Americans. And then they somehow connect themselves, either through the internet or in person, to a recruiter or a mentor. And then they somehow, in the cases you just raised, go somewhere abroad and get some real training. That's when, at least in some cases, but not all cases, these folks return here, and that's what seems to be happening in increasing numbers, and are capable of doing terrorist acts either here or abroad. There is someone, a U.S. citizen, who was recently indicted, named David Headley, who was intending to do those acts abroad, and who allegedly was involved in the Mumbai attacks of last year, along with an accomplice who was also a U.S. citizen. This is new stuff. It's not totally new, but it is increasingly dangerous stuff. And finding the right ways to intervene and making sure we protect our constitutional values in the process has been a big challenge for our subcommittee, and I think it's a big challenge for our country.
And Congresswoman, we also have to make sure that we don't add to more a reigniting of anti-Muslim, anti-Islam fervor in this country because of people's prejudices.
Let me be clear. Most Arab Americans, Muslim Americans, and many others in America are law-abiding citizens or law-abiding legal residents in America. And it is their trust that we depend on, not only to make this country stronger, but also to tell law enforcement if something strange is going on in their communities or even in their families. In the case of the Somali Americans in Minneapolis, 20 of whom, mostly males, young males, disappeared and moved to Somalia, 7 of whom are now dead. Their parents didn't know what they were up to, and they were recruited in a after-school venue in some kind of a center. So it was their parents who got worried. It was the parents, at least in one case of these Virginia 5 that you mentioned, the 5 who are under arrest in Pakistan and who are being questioned by Pakistani authorities and us, who contacted FBI officials after they saw a video that one of their kids had made. So we need their trust, we need their support, and we need to say thank you to these communities for not only what they do for America, but for their instinct to protect this country.
Jane Harman from Capitol Hill, thank you very much for that update on your hearings.